What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Hive Mind Deck Tech. One of our local players and Hive Minder, Tom, has won his ticket to a regional championship playing Domain Zoo. Tom, tell us about your Zach.
Yeah, so basically what Zoo wants to do, specifically Domain, is get on the board quick and finish it with your reach spells like Lightning Bolt, Tribal Flames, and then it takes advantage of Domain cards like Scion, Territorial Kavu, and the combo with Scion with Leyline of Guild Pact is it gives all your creatures the abilities that Scion gives them for each color.
Yeah.
So it could be good at just like closing games out because your opponents just can't interact with your board at all.
So it's pretty much 1-drop, 2-drop, just get in there, get things done.
Yeah, sometimes you don't want to commit to the board all too much. A lot of the times you just want to stick like a big threat, and then you have a lot of great interaction with Domain in the form of like Stubborn Niles and Ley Bindings. So a lot of the time you don't even want to overextend depending on the matchup. But
Sure. In the current meta with this energy madness going on, how do you feel like this deck is positioned?
not great. I would say it's probably like tier 2. I would if
Even with the combo of Scion and Leyline?
it's really good against against Boros or Mardu when you see it, but they also have a lot of ways to break it up with like static prisms, even like wear and tears the celestial purges out of the board.
Okay.
But it's just not the better creature deck. I think Boros is the better creature deck. They just have a lot of 2-for-1s and card advantage. They also have like Blood Moons to lean on, and now they're
Sure.
just playing the ring, so they could outgrind you. But I would be on Boros if I had the cards, but I've just always played Zoo.
I mean, you have some white and red cards in your deck.
I do. I'm missing one rings.
Okay, that's fair.
But
So can you tell us about some of the matchups you played against? Is there something while you're playing this deck that you want to see sitting across the table from you?
What do I want to see against? Well,
like how do you feel against the Dimir Murktide? How do you feel against Amulet Titan? Those kind of things.
Well, Amulet Titan in the past I never really loved.
Sure.
But I feel like now it's probably okay with like the addition of like consigned memories in the sideboard.
Okay.
You have like 3 dampening spheres and even the wear and tears. These used to be like pick your poisons, but with Flage in the deck, that really warped how you have to build your mana base.
Yeah, because you don't have the green basic anymore. You have the red and white basics.
Yeah,
kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Even like the fetches are all different, just to accommodate Flage, because you just want to be able to escape it whenever you
have
can.
You done any fun like play Leon on the Guild Pact, play an arena, attack with Scion on turn 2?
Yes, I've done that. I've done that where even like a Scion of Draco and like a Kavu hasted on the same turn.
Yeah.
Arena is great for the deck. It can be awkward sometimes, but that's usually minute. It's usually generally just positive for the deck to have that in it, especially when you're playing Flage.
Nice. Let's talk a little about your sideboard choices. I see there's 3 cards probably dedicated to Boros.
Yeah, there's quite a bit for Boros.
So you have the Pyroclasms, the Purge, and the Wear Tears.
Yeah, that's yeah. I would bring in like 1 or 2 Hearse, but I'm not even big on Hearse anymore. I think it's just a really clunky card, and the crew ability never is really relevant.
Is there maybe a certain card I could see you?
Yeah. I'm switching to Soul Guide Lanterns.
Okay.
There is an argument for Nihil Spellbomb because we do have black mana in the
That's
deck.
fair.
But I don't really want to be constrained to having that black mana like devoted to cracking for it, whereas Soul Guide Lantern doesn't matter.
I do agree with the like just activated ability nuke your whole graveyard as opposed to just taking 1 or 2 cards.
Yeah, and I like Soul Guide too because it has an ETB and you could like snipe like an Atraxa in the yard that they've been off of surveillance.
Of course. Let's talk about some of the other cards. The Consigns and the Dampening Spheres, those are for your Tron and Eldrazi matchups.
Yeah, and even I'd bring these in against Storm too, because Storm obviously Sphere.
Yeah, Sphere's good.
Slows them down,
and the triggered ability of Storm.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
And I've even brought in like 1 or 2 wear and tears against Storm, just for the Blood Moons and the rubies.
The rubies, yeah, that makes sense.
And a Stubborn Denial too.
And then for the Stubborn Denial, is there something you want the Stubborn Denial for?
Basically just like your Eldrazi matchups, like Jeskai, Dimir Frog. Okay. A lot of stuff where like it's going to be relevant in protecting your boards, like against Eldrazi. It's great against rings and like Etron. Sorry, it's great against rings and All is Dust.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You just want to protect your board. a lot of the time too, like even in like against Utron, you're boarding out your ley lines of the guild pack because you just don't want to expose yourself.
Yeah,
Like
because this is a colorless creature that's beating them down.
yeah, and it's
So-
hard for them to remove Scion because Kozilek's Command, it's a 12 mana creature.
Yes. And I think the only card that could do it is like a flashback Kozilek's Return, right?
Yeah, or dismember like post board if they're
That's
playing.
fair. Going forward, besides the Soul Guide Lantern, are there any changes you would make?
I have seen recently. I mean, there's like a zoo variant where there's no Nicodles and maybe 1 or 0 brawlers, and they're playing Bowmasters now, which is definitely because there's a lot of rings running around right now, but also I think it's to help your Boros and Mardu matchups.
Give you a little bit more like tertiary removal against X1s?
Yeah, X1s and just like surprise ambush blockers, but I mean, it can
That's
be pretty
fair.
easy to play around a Bowmaster, but it still helps in those matchups where like Nicodle isn't great, nor is Brawler. Brawler I'm pretty low on right now too. Just given like all the Flages running around and
Yeah, that's fair.
galvanic discharges and such. But with those kind of, I'm a little hesitant on the Bowmaster variant because then you're making your stubborn denials a lot worse.
Yeah, you only really have 8 ways to put a 4/4.
When you're doing it like that,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, Flage you can't really count because when you're escaping Flage, you're almost never going to have the additional mana, and if you're untapping with Flage at that point, to have the stubborn.
This is one of the
mana,
only
everyone-
decks that I think that like Flage is like an afterthought, because how often are you getting to 4 mana with your Zoo deck?
A decent amount. I mean, like Ragavans, if you get hit with it,
That's fair.
it can accelerate you.
And then you can just find lands with Kavu with
Yeah.
the discard effect.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the deck does play 21 lands. You play like the 1 surveil land to help you too, smooth out your draws.
Yeah, I put them here because this is your completion of the domain.
Yeah.
And then all the other stuff.
I also see like some of the like the Bowmaster list, or even just in general, running like the Grixis Triland with the Lush Portical to complete domain, like with
That
the
makes
Tri.
sense.
I don't like that. I think Indatha Thundering Falls is a better combo, just because Indatha into Mountain helps you against the Harbinger of the Seas.
I think you
and-
have to play. Yeah, I think you have to play it in a certain way where like getting one of your basics almost completes your domain, like gets you to
Yeah.
4. And
Oh.
then with that, you have the green and the red to cast your Kavu. So it's
Yeah,
4/4.
well, even with like Ragavan starts, if you're getting Steam Vents, then you're not going to want to get the Triland if you're playing the Grixis one.
Yeah.
It just makes it a lot worse. Whereas if you have a Ragavan start, you can get the Steam Vents and then into the like a turn 2 Triome
Yeah, that's fair.
and complete domain.
Any things wrapping up? Any comments you want to make about the deck? Anything you want to say about your championship win?
Not too much. I wouldn't recommend to play Zoo right now. If you want to play a creature deck, I would recommend playing Boros. I just think it's the best creature deck right now. Other than that, if you have the cards for Zoo and want to give it a go, it is a fun deck. It's just a fun beatdown deck, and then finish your opponent with like Travel Flames and Flages and Lightning Bolts and such. And I just like the deck too because it has a lot of interaction that's good. Like I said, like the Leyline Bindings and the Stubborn Niles.
Yeah.
Which is why I've been
You have cards to answer ring, cards to counter ring, and then cards to just kill your opponent.
Well, I really like Stubborn Denial too right now because it's a very combo like meta right now with like Gorios and Storm and such.
Yeah.
Whereas why I've been hesitant to do the Bowmaster version.
Alrighty. Well, thank you again for letting us do this deck tech, Tom. We appreciate you. Congrats on your win.
Thank
Don't
you.
forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.